answer to an economic siege, to an economic blockade, that are outrageous, un-European and unacceptable.
The British and Spanish governments are now trying to ease the tensions, but at the border, the delays and frustrations remain. Emma Simpson, BBC News, Gibraltar.
A toast at today's Olivier Theatre Awards was the musical Oklahoma, which won 4 prizes. The Hollywood actor Kevin Spacey also took home an award. Our arts correspondent Rosie Millard watched the ceremony.
Theatreland went back to the spirit of the 40s today, with the National Theatre's Oklahoma carting off Best Musical and 3 other Olivier Awards. Meanwhile, for one modern-day star in particular, it was almost a dream come true to make the trip over from LA and pick up Best Actor.
For me, I take a bit of a distance from the Hollywood, trappings, in that, I'm a man of the theater, and I've spent about 90% of my experience doing plays. It's only really been the last 6 years that I've enjoyed success in film, and I adore some of the opportunities I've had, but there's nothing like doing a play.
Meanwhile, the Lifetime Achievement Award went to a British thespian, himself out to California, even though he seemed a bit fed up about it.
I made, I hope, a little joke about getting my gold watch, because I'm just off to America for most of this year to work, because the old Vic, which I wanted to go back to and could have gone back to, the Arts Council has refused me a subsidy to do it.
For a British industry now worth £1 billion, it was, however, a day of celebration.
From Hollywood stars to low-budget company shows, the Olivier Awards are proof, if any is needed, that British theatre is unsurpassed in its range, quality and pulling power. And yes, this does belong to Kevin Spacey. Rosie Millard, BBC News, at the National Theatre.
The mystery of how seals survive in the icy waters of the Antarctic has long fascinated scientists. Now, with the help of special video cameras, we're able to get new insight into their underwater lives.
Large and lumbering on the surface, once underwater, seals have revealed themselves to be expert and cunning hunters of prey. To learn more about their behaviour, scientists in Texas strapped a small video camera to a seal's head. For the first time, they had an accurate picture of the seal's underwater world. The footage shows how seals hunt, approaching their prey in silence. If a fish tries to hide in a crevice in the ice, the seal literally blows it out into the water, ready for the chase.
These animals dive to great depths, but we don't really know what they're doing down there because we can't observe them directly. This new technology is opening up a window which allows us to observe their behavior at depth in what for us is a very alien environment.
The video also showed that seals could swim for 2 miles and still find their way back to an air hole without running out of breath. The camera will be removed once the experiment is complete. Its remarkable footage is a scientific breakthrough, revealing previously unknown information about the behaviour of the seal. Daniela Ralph, BBC News.
As St. Valentine's Day approaches, some companies have been doing their bit to promote true love by paying for single workers to join a dating agency. The hope is that romance will encourage employees to take less time off work due to stress or loneliness. In Birmingham, the 2 strangers who were brought together a fortnight ago, not by an agency, but by their local radio station, have been speaking about their marriage so far.
Back from honeymoon, the couple who won each other in a competition. They'd never met before the nuptials, but after 2 free weeks in the sun, are they in love?
I think love's something that comes over a period of time. I mean, a lot of like.
Yeah, anybody who says they're in love with somebody in 2 weeks is a liar.
For those who don't fancy winning their spouse in a raffle, could employers help smooth the path to true love? At this office in Birmingham, the boss thinks workers who are in love are more productive. He's arranged for unattached employees to join a dating agency.
I hope they will achieve happier and more fulfilled staff. If they're happy, they'll work better. The idea is to make them fully rounded as people. And where there are problems and where we can help, that's what we try to do.
Although she hasn't met the love of her life, one employee says dating did put a spring in her step.
We work so hard every day, we work very long hours. It is really hard to get out and meet new people and organise a social life sometimes. So to have someone do it for you is fantastic.
Surrounded by all the hype that's whipped up for February the 14th, it's not surprising
surprising that some single people can be made to feel left out. Introduction agencies, which can charge up to £7,000 for their services, are reporting record business in the run-up to Valentine's Day.
Would you like to tell me a little bit about yourself? Agencies claim subscriptions are up by more than 35% so far this year.
There's a great scramble to join introduction agencies before the millennium because who will you be celebrating with? And we've actually found that companies are beginning to subsidise staff's registration fees for agencies as well, because they know that happy staff make effective workers. And of course, it's a much cheaper perk than a company car, and it lasts much longer.
While the rules of courtship have changed radically, there's still one traditional image, which even the most modern of couples will do anything to achieve. Denise Mahoney, BBC News, Birmingham.
Well, back now to our main story. President Clinton's acquittal in his impeachment trial. Stephen Sacker joins me now from Capitol Hill. Stephen, the president is due to react any minute now to his acquittal. Any sign of that coming up?
It's going to happen any minute, Martin. The president hasn't been seen yet, but we know he intends to make a public statement. As much as anything else, to draw a line under this year of scandal. Officials have led us to believe that there'll be some expression of regret, some kind of expression of sorrow for putting the nation through this terrible year. But also, more than that, there will be an expression of determination, the president's determination to move on with the nation's business and to convince the public that he can still be an effective president in the remaining 2 years or so of his presidency.
You talk about drawing a line, but has there been any long-term damage to the presidency? Will the slate really have been wiped clean?
The slate certainly hasn't been wiped clean, and Mr. Clinton knows that. He has been impeached, only the second president in the history of the United States to be impeached, the first this century, and that stain cannot be removed from his record. But I do think that in the months and years to come, historians will look back and conclude that this was much more about the flaws and weaknesses of Bill Clinton than it was about any institutional failure. And certainly senators who've come out from the Senate floor after the vote was taken are making the point that in the end the Constitution worked. Bill Clinton was acquitted, but the Constitution worked, and that's something that they're clinging on to.
Stephen, thanks very much indeed.
News is the 9 o'clock news.
From Fiona and from me, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening to you. For the last couple of weekends, the weather's been quite exciting. I'm sure you'll be relieved to hear for this weekend it's going to be rather dull and rather boring. We do have some rain on the way, but nothing like the sort of problems we had for the last 2 weekends. We have 2 weather fronts, the first of which is just about getting away from the east coast of Kent. There is this more persistent band of light rain and drizzle. It's going to be around for much of tonight, but as you can see, the skies are much clearer across the far north, and really behind that weather front, we will see temperatures fall away. The main system moving away very gradually to the east, but it won't be till Sunday before we squeeze that area of high pressure away to the near continent and allow these Atlantic weather systems to start to move across the whole of the British Isles. We've had that band of clouds slowly creep across us during the course of today. It is producing a little bit of light rain and drizzle, but not by much. And we are going to continue to see that band of rain become very slow moving, really across the central part of the Midlands and down in towards the West Country. It stays here, I think, throughout the night tonight, but either side of that, with the skies continuing to clear, not just a problem with some temperatures getting fairly close to freezing, but also with some mist and fog problems first thing in the morning. The wind's very light for tonight in the first half of tomorrow, but by the end of the day, southwesterly winds will start to creep in towards the western and northern parts of Scotland. So temperatures tonight will down to as low as 0 or -1 in the southeast. Perhaps a few holes in the cloud developing elsewhere, but more likely across Northern Ireland and parts of Scotland. Here temperatures down to -2 at the lowest. So that's how the weekend starts tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. A lot of cloud for these more central areas. It's really not going to go very far, I think, throughout the day. So as I said, it's a bit boring. And those mistiness and fog patches will gradually lift. It may be the afternoon before it all disappears, but then some sunshine coming through, and then late in the day, right at the end of the day, as it gets dark, a bit more persistent cloud and a little bit of rain coming into the far north and west of Scotland. Now, in terms of temperatures, well, we're looking at perhaps a 9 down towards Devon and Cornwall, 6s and 7s elsewhere, perhaps as low as 5 in parts of Scotland, but certainly warm enough for a lot of that snow to start to melt. With an added problem, some of the rivers could be quite full as that water rushes down. And then by Sunday, well, this main band of cloud and rain, which is the next system that's crossing down from the north, will continue to push its way eastwards with showery, brighter weather to follow on behind, but also a few showers. That's all from me. Have a good weekend.
Good evening. Now the nation's news with Jamie Owen and BBC Wales Today.